just be prepared for the uncertainties of life.
Okay.
You know, because we make plans, we make we make reservations for trips in 2 or 3 weeks, and we have no guarantee that we'll get there and do that, or our plans will come together.
Right.
And it's just to be prepared for the uncertainties of life.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is the journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
The Journey Initiative is generously supported by Nike's Black Community Commitment. Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that I'm sure you're going to love. But before we get to him, let's go to our quote of the day. It comes from the great General Colin Powell, 4-star general, first Black U.S. Joint Chief of Staff, as well as Secretary of State. Listen, it goes like this: have a vision, be demanding. What does that mean? You have a vision for yourself. It's up for you to be intentional about pushing it forward. Be demanding about the vision you have for yourself. It's no one's responsibility but yours. Now, today's Memphis icon, he's a Nashville native, but he is all Memphis now. Meharry graduate, education advocate, entrepreneur, an absolute visionary, community leader, excellent father, and a tremendous husband. Without further ado, we have Dr. Reginald Coopwood. Welcome to The Journey, sir.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me be a part of this.
Man, thank you for being a part of it. We're very grateful to have you. So before we get started, we're going to get back to the early years.
Okay.
Nashville. Tell me about the household that Reginald Coopwood grew up in.
Well, I was the 5th of 5 children.
Okay.
I have 3 older sisters and an older brother.
Okay.
Mom and dad was a physician, mother was an educator.
Okay.
And so that was our home life.
So you're a second generation physician.
I am.
Okay. Okay. So who outside of your parents had the biggest impact on young Reginald Coopwood?
Wow, that's a difficult thing to say, because as a young boy growing up around in our family home, our parents were a big impact.
Right.
Part of it was our community. We grew up in a community in Nashville around Riverside Hospital.
Okay.
There in Nashville, and so there was a community of physicians. There was a community of professionals, and so being a part of that and around that helped shape my life as well as to what direction I wanted to go in as a young man.
Did you play any sports as a young kid?
Not really competitively. Played on some intramural teams. I was a superstar on the intramural team, but other than that was as far as it went.
Okay. All right. Now, we make a lot of decisions as young people, but we really don't understand the impact that they will have on our lives. Is there a decision that you made as a young person that ultimately you look back and like, man, that really shaped my future, and didn't even realize it?
That didn't happen until I got older.
Okay.
I think I remember early as I remember I wanted to be a physician.
Okay.
And I don't remember wanting to be a fireman or a policeman. I remember wanting to be a physician, and that was where my mind was set from that standpoint.
Well, you had a role model right there in the house with you.
I did.
So tell me about your older brother. What kind of relationship did you have with him?
We had a good relationship. So it was a set of twins in between him and I, and then we had an older sister. And so we were far enough apart to get along. I don't remember any real fights or anything like that.
He didn't treat you like a little brother?
He didn't treat me bad like a little brother. He kept me, from playing basketball and all the things that he was physically bigger than. He always let me know that he was a bigger brother.
I got you.
And we have a good relationship today.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. How different are you from the person you dreamed you would be? Now, maybe you dreamed you would be a physician, but when you look back and think about how you looked forward, how different are you from that person?
I think I'm significantly different today because I no longer practice medicine. in the business of running hospitals for the past 17 or so years, that wasn't in my game plan. I thought I would be a practicing physician until I was ready to retire. But I had life-changing events that brought me to where I am today and enjoying it.
What was that moment that you realized that you were no longer going to be in the operating room as a surgeon or as a physician?
Well, I had a kind of a life-changing event when I had my wife and I at the time. We had 3 young boys. She developed colon cancer and ultimately passed from the cancer. I was faced with a busy practicing surgeon in Nashville and raising 3 boys. And so I made a kind of a career move to do some administrative things as well as surgery. And then in 2000, I just decided I'm gonna go full-time administrative and let surgery, which I love and was very good at, go.
Do you ever regret it?
No, I don't. I've never regretted it. Now I don't hang out in the OR, and those juices would start flowing if I ever went back in there for a long period of time. So I stay out of there.
I understand. When did you know you was gonna be okay? When were you able to look in the mirror and say, I can do this thing called life?
I think it really was when after my first wife died, life just kind of happened for me. I didn't, went from high school to college to medical school to surgery residency. So it just went as planned, and then the whole life experience changed. It happened. It made me realize. So I looked up to my dad, and he was always that person, and then it became to a point where, hey, people are talking to you like you're thinking of your dad, and I had to make some reconcile some things in my life, kind of grow up mentally and emotionally, and when I did that, I knew that I could face life as I move forward.
What's your why? Why you get up and fight till you fight every day?
Wow. My why today and my why before as a surgeon aren't really different. It's really to make life better for people who need good health care. I do it at a larger, broader scale today as a CEO, but it has not changed. I can where I was doing one surgery at a time, making life improvements one person at a time, I can make now corporate improvements that impact multiple people on a daily basis.
You have 3 boys. Three boys. What is that like, knowing that you have 3 people carrying your legacy forward?
It's humbling because when your kids are little, you have dreams and desires for them. As they mature and get older, you lose control of what they become and who they are. And then to look back and to see them as 3 grown young men, professionals, successful.
Any physicians?
No physician.
Uh-oh.
No physicians in that group. Might get one in the next one.
Right.
But it's just good to see that they are carrying on their lives and their legacies of what my dad put into me and what I intend and tune both their mother and their stepmother put into them to be able to be successful. And that's a great pleasure.
Now, this is a question that I want to hear the answer of. When did Reginald Coopwood realize he was black?
Wow.
Hold on for a quick second. Listen, this is The Journey on the KUDZUKIAN Network. When we come back, Dr. Coopwood is going to share with you when he realized he was a brother. Stay right there. We'll be right back on The Journey on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Success in life is not a straight line. There are twists and turns in everyone's life, and the more you know about their story, the more you'll understand the process. KUDZUKIAN Media Group proudly presents The Journey, a show that features successful black men in Memphis telling their stories of their lives and the ups and downs they've encountered on their ultimate road to success. We believe the journey will encourage young men and help them see that life is a journey. Watch The Journey, hosted by me, Larry Robinson. Brought to you by the KUDZUKIAN Media Group in partnership with the Delta Boulé. Welcome back to The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have Dr. Reginald Coopwood. And before we left, we asked Dr. Coopwood when he realized he was a brother. But before we go there, I want to know, Dr. Coopwood, if you were asked by someone who had never had any interaction with you at all, and you couldn't use that you were a physician, who are you?
Wow, I'm a man of faith.
Okay.
Man of values family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person who seeks to try to make life better for others and pour into people what has been given to me, whether it's knowledge, whether it's resources, whether it's just love.
Right.
And that's who I am.
What's your superpower?
Wow. I think analytical thinking,
Okay.
critical thinking, leadership.
Okay.
My definition of a good leader is someone who people want to follow, and I make sure people are following the leadership that I'm providing, and I think that has been my success, is putting good people around me and providing good leadership.
Okay, we're going to go back to that question now. When did you realize you were black?
Well, I think that when I was in the second grade, me and this white guy, Johnny, I went to a school. We first spent my early years, I was born in Nashville. We moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay.
And in '68, I went to a public school that was just integrated.
Right.
So we were one of the first blacks to go to this Bellwood Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't have much interaction, that no difference of black and white. We had a white friend across the street, and so there was not a whole lot. Well, one time at lunch, me and Johnny were playing with, joking around with this young lady, or girl, and we both kind of were teasing that we were going to mess with the back of her dress, and we both got in trouble.
Right.
I went home, I really got in trouble, and the teacher said that, come back and your parents had to say what you did. Well, nothing really happened to Johnny, but what I came to realize was my mother was, you don't have the same rights as Johnny to joke around and play, with anyone, and that happened to be a little white girl. And so I didn't understand that right away, but when I look back at it,
Right.
she wanted me to understand that this world isn't necessarily fair to the black men,
Right.
even back in probably 1969.
Right.
And I have to make better decisions because I can't count on the same privileges that white people will have.
Right.
And that has really stuck with me. So whether I realized it at that point, I was kind of mad I got in trouble more
Right.
than Johnny did.
Right.
But as I look back on it, I appreciate the fact that she wanted to. It's similar to what young parents are telling kids today, that you got to put your hands on the steering wheel. You got to,
Right.
you
Right.
can't make sudden moves.
That talk.
Because that talk, and that
Right.
was my talk back in 1969.
Wow.
In a different vein, but it has stuck with me. But that let me know that Johnny and I were different.
Right. Did you ever get one of those from your mom? You wait till your daddy get home.
We did. I did. And
what was that like? What
well,
was one of those? What was one of those like?
Well, it was the fear and trepidation of when Daddy gets home.
Right. Right.
But she wasn't shy about handling her own business with us and me. I had the benefit of being the youngest, so I learned from, that got her in trouble, that got him in trouble.
Right.
I probably shouldn't do it. So I learned a lot of that stuff vicariously through my siblings who got in trouble earlier on. But it was that wait for him to get home that was
wasn't that brutal?
anxious, yes.
Oh my God. Oh man. So you had it was 5 of you.
Correct.
Okay. So tell me about that dynamic. So, you know, that you had the oldest. Did they go to college, so on and so forth, or did everybody go to college? Was there other physicians, if you could?
So yeah, everyone went to college.
Okay.
My oldest sister is now she's a retired teacher.
Okay.
My brother's a retired teacher, so they took after my mother.
Right.
I have twin sisters that are above me. One is a dentist. She went to Meharry in dental school, and she was a dentist, and the other was in healthcare administration. And then I followed behind and went into medicine.
What was your dad like?
Wow, he was a cool dude.
Really?
And he was a psychiatrist.
Oh,
and
okay.
Just a laid back, cool guy. Never really got ruffled.
Okay.
And people say I'm a lot like him in the laid back sense. Thoughtful, and also a giving person.
What's your early memories of the neighborhood? I remember you saying you had a kid that grew up across the street, but was there, I don't imagine there was, you know, milk crates hung up on the telephone poles or anything like that. But what was it like in your neighborhood and the dynamics around your neighborhood?
Well, when we lived in Murfreesboro, my very early years, we moved back to Nashville probably when I was in 3rd or 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And in Nashville, there's a kind of area of a town that was where African Americans lived, and so we had this. My dad thought he was going to rebuild this old house. So we had this old house with this big yard, and it ended up being the convening place for the whole neighborhood. So we would play football in the yard. Everyone would come over. We'd play softball, and it was just kind of the place to be for. At that time, it was all black kids. There was a family across the street that we played with as well that was white, but it was
mainly a black community.
It was a black community, and very supportive, and probably a lot of professionals and kids in that community as well.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school called Madison Academy,
Okay.
and it's in outside of Nashville, Tennessee. We're Seventh-day Adventists, and so it was a high school affiliated with the church.
Okay.
I did it, and so as the youngest, I wanted to always catch my siblings, and I went to summer school and did high school in 3 years, so I could get on to.
You did high school in 3 years?
I did. Yeah.
How did you do that?
Summer school.
Okay.
3 years of summer school, and got all the necessary credits to get it done, but because I had to get going, I had to get going on my life. That I felt I was in a hurry for really no reason, but I felt I was in a hurry.
First girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, prom. When did you go? What was prom like for Reginald Coopwood?
Prom was good. My first girlfriend was a young lady. That
I see all the thoughts just running across you.
She was. Her name was Michelle.
Okay.
And we hung out. Didn't do anything really bad around prom, but. It was pretty close for young love at the time.
Okay.
And I was ended up being a year ahead of her. We were in the same class originally. I ended up being a year ahead of her and went on to college, and we kind of got some distance between us. But, beautiful young lady and great memories.
Where'd you go to school? First, college?
I went to Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama.
You went to Huntsville?
I was in Huntsville, yeah.
Okay. My son's thinking about going down to Alabama A&M. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it makes me smile thinking of Huntsville. And I had a couple friends that went to Oakwood.
Okay, yeah.
So tell me about the college years. When did you know that you knew you already, I presume, that you wanted to be a physician, but how did Oakwood play in your pursuit on being a physician?
They had a strong biology, chemistry program.
Okay.
They had a good legacy. My sister had gone through it in in preparation for dental school. Had great friends who went to medical schools all across the country. So Oakwood was a big feeder for individuals going into the medical profession.
Okay.
Whether it was in Loma in California, it was a significant pipeline into Meharry. And so I had a good cohort that I went through with that we ended up going to medical school and becoming physicians.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, you said you got married. As far as after graduation from Meharry, or was it during graduation?
It was doing medical school.
Doing medical school,
I was doing medical school.
Okay.
I got married to a young lady I fell in love with at Oakwood.
Okay.
And we got married after my sophomore year of medical school.
Okay.
And my oldest son was born right before I graduated from medical school.
Oh, wow. Wow. You said you lost her.
I did.
How did you deal with the boys, being that I'm sure you couldn't take away their loss? You couldn't take away that feeling. I had a situation, and why I ask you that question, I had a situation with my sons. Their grandfather passed, and there was nothing I could do to take the pain away or mitigate the pain. And I wonder, how does that work for you as a dad?
Well, it was
being in pain yourself.
Oh yeah, that, and part of it, I consumed myself with their lives. But my oldest son taught me something, not unintentionally, but taught me something. They were in a basketball tournament. They lost at the buzzer, and and it was probably 3 or 4 months after his mother died, and he was just in tears, and in my mind, we all lost the same person.
Right.
And so I was saying, Reggie, it's okay. We all are grieving. We all lost. He said, no, you still have your mother. And so I came to the realization that I lost a wife, and he lost a mother, and it's a different trajectory relationship. And I just had to stop and pause. It was the same person, but different relationship.
Right.
And from then on, I had a different perspective of their grief is different from mine. I lost a partner. They lost a person that was nurturing them.
Right.
And that I'll never forget that night the rest of my life. That he taught me that. How
is the loss of your first wife impacted your relationship with Erica now?
Well, I was determined not to just marry someone to help me raise the kids.
Right.
Kids are gone now. What do you do?
Right.
So I took the time and met her. She was in law school there in Nashville, and she was younger, but she had a older, mature kind of attitude that having, being in a relationship with an older guy with 3 boys didn't scare her.
Right.
She embraced it. And it really helped them work through the loss they had with the mother. So she became more than just a stepmother to them, but really a mother, and they call her more than they call me today.
Wow.
And so it helped me understand life is fleeting, and to make sure that I spend the time and invest the time that our relationship is strong and solid, as well as we're raising these 2 girls now.
What role did your mother play in the loss of your first wife?
Very strong, very supportive. They weren't living in Nashville at the time. My parents weren't living in Nashville at the time. I went through a state where I just couldn't focus, I had the money in the bank, wasn't paying the bills, and so she came one time to just help me get refocused. And that was huge. And she just was up until the day she passed, she was a big supporter of me, Erica, and the boys, and the 2 girls as well.
Well, that's what I want. That was next, the 2 girls.
Wow.
You have 3 boys, first wife, 2 girls, the second wife. How is your relationship different with your 2 girls than it was with the 3 boys?
You know, when you're raising boys are, you know, different. You can look at them mean, you can raise your voice, you can do all those things, and they recover. But I had to learn that you can't parent the girls the same way. You can't even look at them hard.
My wife says I couldn't have girls.
You know, you look at them hard and they start crying. I'm like, wait, what did I do? But they, you know, as I tell people, they'll be the ones that'll either keep me out of the nursing home or at least come visit me when I get to the nursing home. They've been a great joy and kind of the capstone on the 5 children to have 2 beautiful, smart girls that love their brothers, and love their mother, and it's I couldn't have drawn it up any better.
I got to see the relationship between one of your sons and the youngest daughter, and it was beautiful. I mean, the nurturing piece, the love that was just displayed. I was like, wow, man, you guys have done an amazing job parenting, and just want to commend you for that.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been a blessing to be a part of it.
Any regrets? Anything that you would say, if I could do this one thing over again, if I could just have that one thing to do over again, what would that be?
I don't think I have a regret.
Really?
I really can't think of a regret that I wish I could have a do-over for.
Okay.
And that sounds, and I you know, I've struggled to try to find an answer if that question were to come up. But I've been blessed. The Lord has shown favor even in the loss of a wife. It's provided me a new wife to love and to grow a relationship with.
Right.
He's just given me too much favor to have a regret.
Awesome, awesome. All right. You walk into Nashville, you walk into the house, your old house, the house that your dad renovated and everything. You look over there at the table, playing a game, is a young Reginald Coopwood. If you could say anything to that young man, what would you say to him as Reginald today?
Just be prepared for the uncertainties of life.
Okay.
You know, because we make plans, we make, you know, we make reservations for trips in 2 or 3 weeks, and we have no guarantee that we'll get there and do that, or our plans will come together.
Right.
And it's just to be prepared for the uncertainties of life and to figure out how to maybe handle them a little bit better. To appreciate them when they do come.
Right.
That's what I would tell them. I would tell them, you know, you're going to be a great surgeon. You're going to be a great dad.
Okay.
And one day you'll run hospitals.
Okay. Oh, cool, cool. So listen, last question. There's going to be plenty of young boys that get to see you in this moment right now. And I'd like you to leave them right there in that camera, talk directly to them. I'd like you to leave them a Coopwoodism, you know, something that they can take with them that, you know, just like you kept that moment with your son, I'd like you to leave them with something they can keep with them from watching this episode of The Journey.
I think the best Coopwoodism I can leave them with is, you know, life, you have to have and create some goals in life. You got to want to be somewhere, be someone, to create something. Try to figure that out. And as you figure it out, try to put the pieces and places in line to help make that happen. If it's just watching this video, to help you get some focus on what it is you want to be. You don't have to be a physician. You don't have to be a hospital leader. If you want to be a musician or you want to be in the production and movie business, get some focus on it, and then find someone who can help you reach those goals, because they're out there, and in situations like this, they can help you find that help. And if anything that I can do for you, I'll be more than happy to make myself available.
Have a vision, be demanding. That's what General Colin Powell said. Brother Coopwood says, follow that dream, go for it, be intentional, be demanding about that dream, because there's people like me and him who are going to help you get there. Listen, I'm Larry Robinson. You've been watching The Journey. For my brother, Dr. Reginald Coopwood, thank you so much. Listen, we're going to keep bringing them. We're going to keep bringing them. You will have no excuse that these men are here in your community. Find them, seek them out, and get this good insight so you can be all that you can be. Till the next time, this is Larry Robinson, Dr. Reginald Coopwood, The Journey on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Take care. Thank you to our partners at Nike's Black Community Commitment. To hear more incredible stories like this, be sure to download the KUDZUKIAN app from the App Store or Google Play. Or check out the Journey Memphis podcast on all your major podcast providers. Also, check us out on the KUDZUKIAN Network.